Hi, I'm the Blended Borderline, and I don't have a support puppet like some really cool narcissists I know, but that's okay. I am here today to put makeup on, probably poorly because I'm not good at putting on makeup, really. I'm not. This is like liquid lip stuff and marker. I'm telling you, illustration marker. I'm not gonna lie, because that's how I get down, baby. I was just trying something else because I heard you don't overline, but you put dark towards the corner. It gives you bigger lips, which it totally seems to be working on camera. I don't know in real life how that's going to go. But it doesn't really matter because I will be probably wiping it off anyway. I'm going to see my grandparents probably for the last time of their life today because my friend who I stay with is driving me up there. I don't have a vehicle, and they live about an hour and a half away. So it's going to be a day. Hopefully today my grandma remembers me. If not, well, I hope she's happy. You know what I mean? I should have put this on before I put my nails on. I still have to paint them. They're not even like, I just want to put the crappy ones on real fast. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you today about trauma bonding. That's right. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to give you a how to trauma bond somebody. Because I know there are people out there that probably would like to know exactly how to do it. Like in an efficient, and just be aware of them doing it, I guess. Because I don't know why someone would do that. I feel like the people that would want to do that already do it automatically. So, yeah. So, I can't put this on. So, trauma bonding. A trauma bond is due to, it's an ego injury, actually. An ego, what's that called? Injury. Injury is the only word I can think of. But it is caused by intermittent reinforcement and mimicking conditions of a traumatic childhood, usually. I think sometimes people can be traumatized, obviously, as an adult, and maybe the next person could trauma bond them based on that particular event. But I'm going to go about talking about my trauma bond, I guess. And that would be because of my childhood. And mainly, what it was is I have double daddy issues and an emotionally absent / abusive mother. So a neglectful, abusive mom. So, and not really having a connection to other family. Having to kind of raise my sister a little bit. My biological father was not really around. And I don't know if I should be telling you all that. Do you deserve to know all that? Well, and my stepfather was, let's say, sexually inappropriate at best. And my mother was very complicit in unacceptable behavior. I mean, what he does admit to, as far as abusiveness, is giving me extremely hot baths when I was about 18 months, 2 years old, because he was jealous of the time I took away from his time with my mother because she had to focus on me. And that is what he admitted to. So, I can only imagine, to be honest. There is a whole story behind that I'll probably get into someday. Maybe. But, anywho, the trauma bond, well, besides the absent whole daddy issues, like daddy wasn't there, daddy doesn't love me kind of a thing, there is that. So then just someone kind of being in and out, sometimes like hot and cold will kind of give that. But really, the trauma bond comes from my mother wound. And from what I've gathered, and from what I've, from self-reflection, the mother wound is significantly worse than the daddy issues. Daddy issues might get you on that pole, but mama issues get you stuck in some real messes. And just without the reparenting and the grounding and the actual work going through that, it really fucks up everything. as far as like how like for me, how I feel my places in the world, you know, like how I connect with other people and all that stuff. It's crazy. But the trauma bond that I am most affected by, or have been affected by as far as in a relationship, would be with my last boyfriend. He is highly narcissistic. I have no doubt that he could get diagnosed with NPD, but that's, you know, beside the point. His behavior was unacceptable and abusive, and followed the pattern. The whole relationship followed the pattern of a narcissistic relationship. And me having borderline personality disorder, when we're both cluster Bs, there is a lot of similarities between us as far as how we deal with things, or like our history, I guess, more so. Not how we deal with things. Actually, it's like if you took the same childhood and we took two different paths, basically. We're two sides of the same coin, is how I feel. And that's part of why I am so a magnet for them. And I just mean, like, I'm a magnet because I'm just projecting this energy of, give me the narcissist. Give me the narcissistic person. Because why? Because they are interesting. Some of it, they're interesting because of just the pathology and watching the shenanigans, like how the thought process like seems to be working out, and like how the conclusions are gotten to where they are. And of course, this is all just observable stuff. I can't ever attest to his actual intent, his actual feelings, you know, his motives, all that stuff. I can't. I can only go by what he said and what he's done. And that goes for anybody who displays narcissistic tendencies. I thought I was a lot more narcissistic until I took like an online test that I am definitely not narcissistic. I do have some tendencies, but they were much higher during the relationship. And I have found out since that partially is because of, it's a reaction. I kind of take on narcissistic defenses in order to defend myself against a narcissist, because I am in survival mode, just like he is. Anyway, what it was, I realized that I had quite a while before our relationship actually ended, had stopped loving him. And I didn't want to admit that. I still don't like admitting it. And part of me thinks maybe I do still love him, but I don't. I know I don't. I hold on to that just in case he comes back so I don't feel stupid, or that way I can just slide back into that pair of sweatpants because they're comfortable. Doesn't look good on, doesn't make me look good. You know, it's not a fashion statement. It's not for any kind of wanted attention, but it's just easier. I don't have to shower, like that kind of thing. It's just, you know, I'm going to Walmart in my pajamas. That's the kind of thing it would be. He is now Walmart. I mean, I don't mind Walmart actually, but he's like, I don't know. If I didn't want to go to Walmart, I guess I would say that. So I'm going to take that back. Anyway, moving on. I realized though that my desire for him, besides like we had some chemistry as far as the sex went, you know, but that's not that hard to kind of fabricate. And really you could tell even during that, because he did not take direction well. If there was, you know, want to change course or just little tips or whatever to make it even better, he was not having it. Never did he change his way. But fortunately his way was good enough most of the time. And I was madly attracted to him. Like, madly attracted to him. Like, I did not see another man. Like, I could see people, I could see what, I did not care. Like, I had no interest in anyone else. I just wanted him. And partially because he just would not put out enough. Like, I need loving. And he would withhold. It'd be like, bam, let's bust it open. And then, like, withhold it for, like, at least a week. Usually it was like, that's when we would get along, everything was good, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, 2 days later, it would all go to shit. And, like, all of a sudden, he's mad at me for no reason. He's giving me the silent treatment. He's locking himself in his closet. The closet's a whole nother thing, too. his room, we'll call it. We'll just call it his room for ease of purpose right now. But he would lock himself in his room, and he knew that closing the door would just, that bugs the shit out of me. Even if I'm mad, it's hard for me to not be in the same area with somebody, because it's like, because then if you're mad and you go away, then you're never coming back. Like that whole, the fear of abandonment that is so prevalent in borderlines just gets triggered. And that's really uncomfortable. And with him, I really, based on, you know, things he said about his past and whatever, that was like a real concern that would be that he really wouldn't come back, you know? And this is like going to be horrible, just so you know. Because I'm not even like trying. Anyway, yeah. So, I'm just going to rub it in. Just rub it in. Just rub it in. I don't know why I have lipstick on right now. I'm going to just do this with my eye like this. Okay. That's like how you do it, right? That's how you do makeup. I really don't do foundation very often. Partially because I'm like kind of a hairy beast. And by hairy, I just mean like I have a lot of peach fuzz. Thanks, Mom, because that bitch is peach fuzzy as fuck. Look at my sister. I'm like, shave that shit. I know. That's not very nice. That's not very nice at all. You're right. It's not. This is off. Am I just wiping it off now? What the fuck am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I look like a mime. Anyway, so yeah, he would start doing that for whatever reason. Whatever reason triggered him, I don't know. Sometimes it was maybe something I did. And there were times, obviously, he's wonderful. But the intermittent reinforcement is, you never know when it's going to be good and when it's going to be bad. And that mimicked my mother. You never know when I was going to get, you know, let's get Domino's pizza. No, I'm not advocating for them because I think their pizza's gross. But that is what we would get. That's what I always remembered. And watch horror movies, like have some family time or whatever, like watch horror movies or whatever. Or I would get the quit your crying or I'll give you something to cry about, Mom. You know, that kind of, oh, this is like a fake, I look like a mime. I'm way too white. I mean, I'm white, but come on now. Anyway, and he knew this kind of thing, of course. And that's kind of, it was his go-to weapon, as I'd say. He'd claim he wasn't punishing me, but he was, because he wouldn't respond. He would say nothing's wrong, but he would literally be withholding. There'd be no affection, basically no talking, no interaction. He'd be on his phone playing video games or probably talking to people, watching more porn. He had quite the porn addiction. He does have quite the porn addiction. Like, the amount of hours. Like, I don't care. I watch porn. But my goodness, if you're going to watch porn instead of having sex with me, there's a fucking problem. Like, that's a problem. I think that's a problem. Then it feels like cheating. That's the only time I think that, you know, it could be akin to cheating. Like porn is. Because porn, otherwise, whatever. It is, I think, that's a whole, I could do a whole other thing about what porn actually is. Kind of unhealthy, or like, you know, dangerous, but because of what it promotes. But that's beside the point right now. Anyways. Oh, shit. My nail broke. Just trying to see, make sure that I'm like super. That stuff was from the dollar store. Because I don't pay for fucking shit. That's expensive. Because I don't use it very often. So anyway. Yeah, we would go through this cycle. And then I would do all manner of things for him to react. Because not reacting is not caring. Because I'm also used to my mother. She was a yeller. So, you know, a yeller and a slapper was like her go-to. And so, if you're not yelling at me, if you're mad, then you must not care. Because my father, my biological father, actually was one of the silent treatment people. If he was mad, he wouldn't talk. And so that part was triggered. It's like a whole thing. And that's the whole triggering the trauma, you know. And since I had some unresolved issues in that area, and still I'm working on those, you know, that was not that hard to trigger. And so he would trigger that. And so I did something with him that I had never done before in my life. That was cut myself for attention. Like, I used to cut a lot when I was younger. I haven't really cut in a long time, because if I'm going to cut, I want to like cut. Like, I have scars that, because I had stitches and I cut open the stitches, and like it had to heal like that. So it's a huge scar. And that, it was like, it's kind of like drug addiction, which I am also an addict. So, if it didn't create that depth, or it wasn't that serious, then it just wasn't worth it. I didn't feel like it wasn't giving me the same relief anyway. And I didn't do it for the pain. I did it for the blood. Blood was symbolic, sacrificial, you know, the whole blood of Jesus. And I think that's kind of ingrained in Western culture, or Western society, kind of. At least the ones that are Christian-centric, like my family sort of is, or was. I'm trying to do something crazy in my hair. Anyway, so yeah, triggered, and I took a pair of, like, and I would, like, slash at my arms, like, just superficial, just enough to get some blood, little droplets of blood, and I wiped it on the wall, and I'm crying, and I'm throwing things. I used to break things, you know, whatever. It was just ridiculous. Like, I had never acted that, even when my younger years, when I was much, like, crazier, I would say, like, or more borderline. I thought I was over some of this stuff. And then I met Nikolai. We'll call him Nikolai. Yeah. Nikolai was actually one of the, like, role-playing names he had. So that's why I'm gonna call him Nikolai. Yeah. Anyway. And Nikolai and Natasha, it sounds nice. We used to be Russian together, you know, like, have accents. Sometimes I like to talk in accents, so if it you know, make you upset, too bad, because it's going to happen. Sometimes Southern, sometimes Russian, sometimes Australian, sometimes, you know, it's never really good. The only good accent I ever do is Minnesotan. That's my best accent right there. It's Minnesotan right there, okay? Because that one I have the most experience with. But I just like talking in accents sometimes, because I spent a lot of time alone. As I did before that relationship. And even in that relationship, let's be real. But it just makes me feel like I'm talking to somebody else, I guess. When I dumpster dive, it's insane. Like, I'm always a Southern accent, and I will have, like, a back and forth conversation. Even acknowledging that I will sound like a loon if anyone is listening. So, I don't know how I feel about this right now. This, like, wave thing. I'm going back to, like, the 80s. We're gonna go back to, like, the 80s rock look or whatever. Anyway. Where are my wipes? Oh my god, my hands have stuff on them. Here they are. Anyway, okay, so triggered, and acting the fool. So then I would get a reaction. I'm like, he had said he was recording. I don't think he ever did actually, though, to be honest. Recording it, like, saying how crazy I was or whatever, and threatening to leave and blah blah blah, which just made me then, you know, then switch over to, no, please don't leave me, please don't leave me. And really, I mean, sometimes I would wail when I was sad, and I would be like, I literally felt like a baby. So I can't regulate my emotions when they get to a certain point. It's like I have no control, it feels like. And I have no self-soothing skills that are consistent. I've learned some things from being in and out of, you know, like DBT and treatments and all that stuff throughout my life. But I don't have any consistent self-soothing skills. So really, the ideal thing would be to not get to the point where I would need them. So to head it off before that. Oh, it's not going to look good. This is not a good mirror for this. You can see my marker right there. It was gray marker. Weird that it looked like that color. But anyway, I need to go to wax or maybe shave. I need to shave. What is my... Oh, it's over there. I'm not going to get it. Not today, not right now, okay? I still look good, okay? From far away, super good. So yeah. And then, after that little explosion and a lot of crying, but I would literally feel like a baby, like a little toddler. And I'm about 2 in my head. I'm about 2 to 5. And that's about arrested development. That's kind of when it started happening, you know, like when my personality disorder started forming. My now maladaptive behaviors were formed so that I could survive my childhood intact. And so eventually he would come out and whatever, and, you know, try to calm me down and whatever, even though he had something to do with the uprising or whatever. yeah, so that's the intermittent reinforcement. But I never knew when he was going to be comforting or when he was just going to continue to ignore me. Or even escalate that to becoming abusive. And that at the end of the relationship, that had escalated. My behavior had escalated to, I became meaner during these episodes of fighting. And I would call him the name that just gets his goat, and that would be bitch. That would be, you call him a bitch, and that's not okay. And I would repeat it, because in all actuality, he was acting like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. But that is when he would, you know, he has, like, jumped on me and, like, held me down. He'd smack my head against something. Usually he would just, like, threaten to beat my ass and, like, punch next to me. That's when he broke the mirror. He punched the mirror that was next to me. And he would just kind of, like, hold me down. And I would just go to the fawning, to, don't do it. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Please stop. Please stop. You're going to regret it. Because I try to remind him, like, he's going to regret it. Like, I understand that you're mad right now, but you're going to feel bad later. Or at least pretend you feel bad. I don't know if he actually felt bad. I'm assuming he did, because he said he did, and the way he acted would kind of speak to that. But, yeah. But every day was, like, I never knew if it was going to be, you know, good daddy or bad mommy kind of a thing. And so that's what creates the trauma bond. And I realized that I didn't want to fail at earning someone's love again. And that if I could get him to love me right, it would make it okay that my mother doesn't care. And doesn't, you know, be motherly. And that's when I was like, whoa-wee. That's crazy. But yeah, and trauma bonds can take different forms for different people as far as, like, what caused the initial trauma that then is recreated. It doesn't have to be exact either. I mean, just like you said, he's obviously not my mom. He's not female. He doesn't remind me of my mom except for this, you never know what you're going to get, withholding, you know, intermittent reinforcement kind of thing. And so yeah, that's been the hardest thing to let go of. Fortunately, it hasn't taken that long to get to where I am right now. I feel a lot better. I still cry sometimes, but that's only when I think about those few times that were good. Because if I look back in journals and stuff like that, it was worse. It was not good more than it was good. And that actually has been consistent. It's actually been the longest relationship I've had as an adult, which was only like 7 months or something like that. So it's really not that great. It might have been close to 9 months. It's probably like 7 solid months or something like that. And then, like, you know, we'll go 9 months if you count the, like, in and out kind of vibe. Because as soon as we became homeless, I kind of was no longer useful to him. So he really didn't give me the time of day much. He claimed he would, and I wouldn't have to do it alone, but then would leave me alone. And I have to remember these things, though. And sometimes it makes me cry, because I think of how much I gave as far as, like, myself. I don't even mean the things I did, because those are my choices. I don't blame him for me loving him. I don't even blame him for his behavior, per se. You know, like, but he knew what he was doing. Because once I told him how much it hurt, or how much he knew. And he was doing it willfully. Even if it was a reaction. Continuing to do it after the initial. Because sometimes I'll get really mad. And I'll just explode. But then I realize it's pretty fast. Like, that's not how I want to be. Like, I calm it down, whatever. And I'll try to make it up to people. I'll apologize, you know, whatever. But he would just keep doing it. Like the silent treatment. For days. And then there's a couple times he disappeared. For days. And I know he was with. And he was with who he's actually with now. And I hope they're happy. I really hope that they have the special bond that she said they do. After he stole the vehicle that she was driving and left her stranded. She's more forgiving than me. Or stupider. Dumber? Stupid's not a word. I feel like we're on equal ground now. Anywho. I really do hope that I hope it works out. I hope he is everything that he couldn't be with me. And that she gets everything that she wants from him and needs from him. Because I did love him, and I guess I'll always love him, because I love people. I love everybody, really. I'll always have love for him as a person. And as a fellow cluster B and traumatized individual who sometimes just operates on autopilot. And even though she's been a horrid bitch to me since I met her while we were together, because she's always been, wanting him and not liking that. And plus he made me look like a total fucking fool to her several times, over and over again. Plus talked all kinds of mad shit about me, I'm sure. Just like he talked all kinds of mad shit about her. But, yeah. I hope that he actually has found a real one, as he put. I'm getting off topic here. And now I'm just kind of making myself sad. And that's going to happen. Because I think about... It's because I feel stupid. It's not because of him. It's because I just feel stupid. Like, why did I continue knowing? Why did I doubt myself? That's part of the trauma bond too. All the other tactics that go along with it. Doubting your reality. When you stop listening to yourself and start buying someone else's truth, that's when you sell yourself short. That almost sounds like a cool fucking, like, t-shirt line, but not quite. It's like, if I tweak it a little. Anyway. Yeah. So, that is a trauma bond from my perspective. I am not a clinician. I can only speak for me. Obviously, people with personality disorders are a spectrum. Cluster Bs, the erratic and dramatic. We're all different people, Fuck, I'm not even the same person from minute to minute sometimes. But there are some similarities. I don't care what anyone says. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to diagnose us. But these are all just my experiences and my understanding of things. Please like, subscribe, comment. I would love to form a community of people that can be open and honest and discuss things. And I'm not easily offended. And just trying to be, if you want to know anything, I will tell you anything, because I'm also an open book. I saw a shirt that said, she was an open book, he was just illiterate. And that is amazing. But enough of that. I just want you to know that legends never die, and we're all legends. Have a good day.